Hi. So I'm doing a little bit a different type of video. It's gonna be a really serious subject matter. So I understand this is not your type of thing. Given my normally post like ASMR videos, relaxing videos, or maybe some comedy skits, comedy stuff. Maybe not something like comedy. I do tackle serious stuff, but I understand. Um, so this video I'm gonna talk about just trigger warning, or whatever, essay, some PDF files, grapest. I hate saying I don't know how YouTube can censor stuff, so I wanted to do this topic, but I kind of bugs me that people have to say silly things that kind of sound like the words I'm trying to say that you want, but just not to get knocked off the algorithm. You change what they say. But it's like a week ago. It'll be probably more now. Probably also do some editing, so probably maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks probably now. Give a chance. Two stories happened to come around the same time. Actually, they were been out for a while, but they kind of hit like a peak that focus came on them, and it's we have Neil Gaiman, and an article came out about him because he had a history of SAing multiple women, people, and the case of Naziah Harris, or the tragic events happened to Naziah Harris, I guess. And so I don't know. I just decided to do this because it seemed to recognize I've heard about stuff about for a while. Like I'll go into detail, but it's just that, like I said, last week I just hit both stories, and I realized there were some similarities between these stories, or what happened. Not stories, I feel like these are relevant. But even though they're two different worlds, but it's like, oh yeah, it's like interesting. I thought how they're similar and yet how they're different. That was kind of interesting. So if you don't know, and I also thought Naziah's story probably is getting a lot of coverage, but it's a different type of coverage that comes with Neil Gaiman story. People covering it, so I thought it might be interesting. Like these are two different worlds. To have a video that might introduce people to both of their stories, Naziah's stories, right? Well, what happened to people in, I don't say Neil Gaiman's story and tragic. Well, it did, but not for him. But okay, sorry, so let me go into the story. So Naziah Harris was a 13-year-old girl who was, it seems, groomed and as a child. I can't really see it on YouTube, but by her aunt's husband. I guess her uncle would be, but and she went missing last January. And like, I guess it was, I forget what day, like last week, he had her uncle, Jaris Butts, had his preliminary, I can't speak, what's it called? Preliminary hearing. And on the other hand, we have Neil Gaiman, a pretty famous writer, who he's written comics, fiction, books. A lot of stuff turned into movies and TV shows. You got Sandman, American Gods, Caroline. I think it's American Gods. There's some other stuff. I think they're making something about the Nancy Boys. Whatever came out. I know I'm forgetting something, but he has works those were based on his works. So he's well known, so there's coverage on like that. But he had apparently has a long history of insane women. And there was an article that came out, and it was what magazine was it? It was not already. But anyway, it got covered, and then so it got, but that too was a story that some of it was out beforehand. Like there was a podcast that interviewed these women, and some, well, I don't know all of them, but a couple of them, and so there was news already like 6 months ago, I think, started out. So yeah, and so, and I figure, and like I said, so they were like, this is a famous writer, Neil Gaiman, famous writer from England. It's happening white, I guess, Then on the other hand, just poor working class people in Detroit, African American. Like I said, different worlds in a lot of ways. But I was watching, like, reading the case. Well, it's both reading and like watching live YouTube videos. People talk about covering how it breaks up. Also similarities a little bit. I that just stuck out to me. Like both had like the predators were both predators. I have to say, like I said, their names. They got made fun of their last names growing up as kids. I mean, Neil Gaiman and Jarvis Butts, right? So I was like, okay, that's a light, funny connection, but more seriously, they have people protecting them, and I think he more, I don't know, so it's like, it seems like we women helping them in a lot of ways. Jaris Butts, Desire Harris's aunt, knew this guy. Jaris Harris had already convicted as a child Chester. He has a history of that. He went to jail. Yeah, she brought him in his life. Brought him into her life and around her. And he said, maybe nephews, I don't know, but like her family members, and she even has kids with this guy. And it seems like she's very much covered up for him. Neil Gaiman's ex-wife, depending on, not ex-wife, but I think this happened when they were married and stuff like that. Listen to the stories. It seems, because a lot of stories did seem they were married. Well, some of them were. I guess they came out, and it's just that it seemed like they were. It was like they weren't there, but it was like, well, she played a role in all that stuff. Like this one woman, like I guess she met somebody and they had a relation, but she kind of, I guess she felt like she gave him to Neil, like she introduced him, but in the way their relation ended, so she felt like she was being passed, like a little passed around. And then there was another lady who met. Oh, I guess I didn't say. Neil Gaiman's ex-wife is Amanda Palmer, who's also famous, but she has a name. She's a music singer, like, and but not. She's not on like the level of fame and fortune that I think Neil Gaiman has. She's more like she's made her niche with like crowdfunding and stuff like that, and her type of music, certain type of indie rock, like gothic aesthetic. But like, what the thing was like, she met someone, and as a lady that was down and out, and she kind of gave her a job as like her babysitter. But as between the child that she and Neil Gaiman had, but at the time they were divorced. But some of the things would have to be, so the kid be somewhere, either parent. But it may sound like, when I say job, it's like they paid her a lot. I mean, not like poor pay, but like they had her live with them, but didn't pay her. Maybe only once in a while to actually pay her. So yeah, there was a lot of stuff like the same. And she kind of introduced her, and then when she found out, it was like, oh, I told Neil not to mess with you, or oh my. And so it just seems like she knows, and she was kind of like, like if knew he had like a history or something, like why are you more women to him. So it's like kind of like how also like Amanda Palmer, Isaiah Harris, and it was Shayna Harris. Yeah, seem to put their for protecting the guy, these people, and yeah, that just stuck out to me, and but also like I said, this world of difference. I know. I was watching a video and they're talking about how they're here. So he's like, seems kind of a bum. Like, I mean, he has a job, but he didn't. He seems like he was living off of Isaiah Harris' aunt. Stay with her. Yeah, and so people are like, oh, why are you letting these poor broke dusty guys? It's like, oh, like they're more focused on the fact that he had no money instead of what he did to this girl. But then on the other hand, you have Neil Gaiman, who is rich, a millionaire as an author. Books that ever got turned into movies and TV shows. He's paid, and like so. I thought that was the opposite of these. Were also interesting. Like some people have a view of people. Everyone like, this guy's poor. So of course he wouldn't. Something like that. But then he's rich, or he wouldn't do something like that. But like, two different worlds, two different classes, economic standings, and you see these. It's not. That's not a factor. It's just them. They're just awful people. Oh, and I forgot the similarity. Another similarity to them is they both might seem like they had some type of like tragic past as a kid where they were victimized. I saw something about let's do a thing about Jaris Butts when he was 13. A grown adult woman, I guess, came onto him and had relations, and apparently she had his kid. So he was a victim of the same thing that he did to many other young children. Neil Gaiman was in. His parents were like high ranking in a group called Scientology. Cult, or some people say a cult, but I guess that he might have had abuse in that group. I guess from what I understand, there's certain punishment. They don't see kids. They say kids are just small adults, and there's like, so whatever you do to an adult, you can also do to a kid. I get what I say that. It's not like other stuff happened, and I don't know if that happened, but in this part, it was talking about punishments that happened, and so there were some things that I guess there were some punishments they do for adults. They also may have also had as his childhood. So I don't know, So like I said, those are similarities, and like I said, those are differences and stuff like that. But it's those tragic stories. There's an article in, I think it was, it was not Variety. The Vulture. So yeah, that was a very, very in-depth, very long, kind of long. It was hard to read. It goes into details of like the woman's story, and it's like, wow, this guy really. Yeah, the Vulture magazine. If you can, I think it's a. But yeah, it's zero, and there's a lot of coverage on Isaiah Harris's story on YouTube. A lot of black YouTubers and stuff like that cover this story, and like you can also get the news from Detroit has coverage of like the trial, and it was on the story did get picked up by was it Crime? What was that website? Not website, but it's a YouTube channel that covers like crime. Shoot, let me see if I can find it. But there's a YouTube channel that does crime trials and stuff like that. They do a lot of trials they covered. They need to go to. Don't see it. But yeah. No, I just wanted to, I guess, talk about like the video. Like I said, I guess I didn't go too deep. Like I said, like Neil Gaiman had a long history of SAing women. Like I said, it was a babysitter he essayed, but they didn't. Also, I guess wages, like it was kind of like really economics, really kind of used his money to like have this lady control, because she didn't have her own job. She lived with between the two of them, like Neil and the other lady, Amanda Palmer. Yeah, and then like I said, I guess I didn't go to like detail because Harris, like I said, she was missing a year ago. She was believed to be pregnant, knocked up by Jarvis, or impregnated by Jaris Butts, who I guess was like the last person she was seen with. So yeah, like I said, he groomed her. Not only her, it also, like I said, it was in the past. He had a past relationship issue, but there was one of her cousins was also, like there was a young cousin that in trial came up and said that Jaris took them to his shop. He worked at a auto place, and he did stuff at his job. I don't know who worked there saw it, or it was after hours, or I don't know, but and it was like, oh, I think the girl saw was like 9, and the other cousin that also got was like, I think also 13 or close to that. So yeah, like you said, he has a history of this stuff. I should have wrote this out more, be more clear thing, but I just, like, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. I thought I'll just do this video. It was already covered, people covered, but it's like 2 different worlds. So I thought I'll do one video, and maybe people see the different story, and like, I don't know, expose. But I think my idea was to expose the stories to other different market, our audience, more importantly than Isaiah Harris. I felt, since she was like just a young person, like, even though also the women that Neil Gaiman did, like, oh, this is another similarity. I guess it would be true. Like, Jaris Butts is aiming at kids, he's in Delphi, someone he already has power over. Neil Gaiman has economic control. Like I said, the babysitter, they didn't really pay her, so she, was at their will. There was another victim that used to work on his grounds, when died, and I guess he gave a deal where, they can do stuff at the grounds, and he'll let them stay, and then after a while, after her husband died, he kind of, moved in, and and then he uses money, like bribe money, like say, his son is NDA, and pay you off, just you up, kind of. So yeah, that's another similarity, that they used what power, I guess, they could use. Like, Neil has money. Jaris Butts had, like, he was an adult, and I don't know, I guess, like I said, his victims were powerless. I guess it's more, he's used the power, but also who'd be less powerful than you, to be less likely to speak up. Children and the poor. For the rich, you take out the poor. Don't take out the kid, because the more powerless they get. Oh, so yeah. That's my video. I think, I don't know. I just felt like doing a video talking about the subject. Like I said, it's talked about, but you can introduce people, and like, who knows, like, sadly, this guy's assumed, because he's been missing for a year. The sad thing is he probably is been also another thing that YouTube would censor. She might no longer be around, but maybe she is. So I don't know. It's very unlikely, but like let the story out, and maybe by having it at a different story or different set of eyes see it, maybe then it's something where she would have been found or something like that. Another person would see it. I guess probably want to do this thinking to expose the story a little bit more to maybe a different audience, or I guess, or I guess I can tell the same thing about Neil Gaiman. Let people know that he's trashy, baby. Don't buy his books, or yeah. Because like I think people who know him would be like, oh no, but you just randomly read a book or something and you don't know this, and like, yeah, Neil Gaiman is not a good person. Oh, I guess it's another the cloak that they had. Like I said, even though Jarvis already had a record, but I guess some people point out, I guess he was a decent looking guy, so like he picked women that he probably could also pick, it's another, he looked like, I could say, the love interest in a Tyler Perry movie, that kind of look, and so, and so he probably get up to pick some women up, and like he picked, I guess, who he thought, like I said, who he could control, like not only just the kids, but like a woman. I guess I shouldn't go into. That's nothing I forgot to go into. That might be the type that would allow him to do what he did to kids. Like, I guess only know already knowing what he did. It's past, but like there were. It felt like she might have covered up from something from things I've seen and read. I did see, not just her, but like maybe the grandmother who was like raised Nasiah. I guess the mom, she had, I think, issues, and then like it might have been known, like because it was I'm kind of going all over, aren't I? I wish I wrote this out a bit more clear. But like I said, Jaris probably targeted not only children, but targeted women that he could probably get. I mean, that would be okay with it. But you might not have thought they could get a guy who looked like a Tyler Perry love interest actor, something like that. And then Neil Gaiman, his cover was he had an image of a nice person. So like he was like not just like a nice person, but like a male feminist kind of thing. Like I'm for women's rights and safety and everything. Like, so he was more like the wolf in sheep clothing, and then Jarvis was just a wolf in wolf's clothing, but better for but yeah. I guess that's all I wanted. I know I was going all over the place. I just, like I said, have a good day. Hopefully, justice for Nasiah, justice for Neil Gaiman's victims. Those are quite a few. I don't really at all. They'll get their justice. I guess what a difference is, at least Jarvis Butts has a trial coming up. I forgot when, like later this year. I think there was a preliminary hearing, and then he will get a trial. We don't know anything about Neil. Like, it just, the news broke, it was an article, it wasn't legal action. That I know of. So, yeah. And that might be another thing about class, a different world, was cool. I'm not saying Jarvis should be free, but it's like, okay, he's poor, so he's definitely going to see a trial. Did the crime, going to do time. we'll see. You know, like maybe that's another thing. Maybe that's where I said I feel like Nazia's story needs to be here more. But maybe she's upset. Like, hey, Neil, some legal action needed to be taken. You know, if he did what these multiple women said that he's done, he too should be facing charges. I mean, let's be honest. His public persona wouldn't want it that way. Like, you know, because not Neil's maybe real self, but the image that he had in public, like he, you know, yeah. So, every day.